One of my favorite parts of this whole process was casting, and this next actor really took my breath away in the casting process. This actor played Mom, Sharon Jackson. Her name is Karen Stanford. Please help me welcome Karen to LVPTV.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, let's jump into it because you were one of the people who, in the casting process, and you actually were casted on a day where we had like 4 people auditioning for the mom role, and you came in full wardrobe, you came in full attitude, and I loved what you did with the role. So tell me, Sharon had a tough job loving those boys, as some parents do, when our kids, one is going one way and one is going the other way. But she knew she had to save Marcus, or try to save Marcus. Why were the stakes so high for Sharon?
The stakes were high for Sharon because Marcus represented a piece of her life. Marcus was like that second chance that she had, so she knew she had to push him to be as great as he could be.
Absolutely. I can totally understand that, which makes me automatically think about the kitchen scene. Now, in that, because that kitchen scene was a pivotal moment. In that kitchen scene, what did you need Marcus to hear in that scene? Because you poured your heart out in that scene in so many words. What did you need Marcus to hear in that scene?
In that scene, I needed Marcus to hear my heart. I needed him to understand that I wanted him to stay on that straight road that he was on. I knew how much he loved his brother. I knew how much of an influence his brother was, but I needed him to hear me.
We could see that on screen. Do you think that in that moment, Marcus was receiving of that? How did Sharon feel in that moment? Did you think in that moment that you got to him?
In that scene, in that moment, I do believe that I got to him, but with time, I believe it kind of faded away.
That relationship was so contentious between Marcus and Kevin that, I mean, the best way to describe it is love-hate. They had this thing from one another. As their mom, how did that affect you, and how did it affect how you loved them? Because you had to love them differently.
That affected me in so much because in a way they were so different, and I did love them. I think maybe at times it was harder to love Kevin than Marcus, because Marcus was so easygoing and, you know, he was kind of already on the straight path. He would listen, whereas Kevin was just, you know, a little bit more hard-headed, and sometimes my patience was just done with him.
So tell me, did Sharon have any regrets?
Let's see. Sharon had a lot of regrets. Maybe her biggest regret was maybe not being able to show the love to Kevin that she showed to Marcus.
Wow, okay, I can see that.
Because, you know, her and Kevin's relationship was that mother-son, but it was a little rocky at times. Maybe not as affectionate with Marcus as I was with Kevin. So that would say that would be one regret.
So, when your son Marcus showed up at your home that night, what was going through your mind?
When my son showed up at my house that night, in my mind, I knew that my world was about to start crashing. Like all the pieces were about to just come apart.
And I know we don't want to give anything away.
Got to tune in so you can see what I'm talking about.
So what was your favorite scene in the movie and why?
My favorite scene in the whole movie was when Kevin showed up at the rehab to visit Marcus, and he told him that he messed up.
Yes.
He said, "I'm the reason why you're here." To me, that was the moment when Kevin got vulnerable and he got real.
Absolutely. You could not have said that any better. And I agree. That was one of my favorite scenes as well. So I am so excited that you were a part of this project. I cannot wait to see what other things you're a part of. As a matter of fact, tell me what's next for Karen. What are you working on? Are you involved in any projects? Tell us where we can see you. Where can we see your work?
So I'm still, auditioning. I am still currently taking an acting class. I did do a short film back in October, which will probably be out later this year. It's called Julius. It took place in the 1850s with a little boy. We were at a refugee camp, and I was his aunt, and somebody was coming to try to take him away.
Powerful. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being a part of this project. I really think that you did the role justice, and you did the trilogy justice. And of course, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to shoot the entire third installment in your facility. I can't tell you what an honor that was, and I can't tell you production-wise how helpful that was, because it really made the story true in time and space, and I so appreciate you and your husband for allowing us that opportunity.
Glad that we could help.
Thank you so much, and I can't wait until the trailer.